Scriptures today, the first one comes from Isaiah chapter 46, verses 3 and 4. Listen to me, O house of Jacob, all the remnant of the house of Israel, you who have been born by me from your birth, carried from the womb, even to your old age, I am she. Even when you turn gray, I will carry you. I have made, I will bear, I will carry, and will save. And the other one is from Deuteronomy chapter 32, verses 11 and 12. As a mother eagle stirs up her nest and hovers over her young, as she spreads her wings, takes them up, and bears them aloft with her pinions, the Lord alone guided them. No foreign god was with them.
Question: how would you feel if God was going to show up at your house today? I remember as a youth getting a book written by a teen, and Jesus was going to show up in their room. And the kid was scrambling to get his best clothes on, hide everything under the bed, take the magazines under the bed and throw them in the neighbor's trash. I mean, it was a nightmare of a book for a teenager, struggling with all those raging hormones. Oh my goodness, Jesus is going to show up? I remember having a babysitter who used to sneak outside when she was supposed to be watching us. She would go out behind the garage to have a smoke. And before she would go, she would place all of us on the couch, youngest to oldest. There were 8 of us. And she'd point at her finger at us and she'd say, I'm going to be gone for 5 minutes, and I want you to sit on this couch and not move a muscle. And remember this, God is watching you, so you better not move. And we would do it because we believed in God. We knew what happened to the Israelites when Moses went up the mountain and they decided to party away. We knew that story. We knew the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. God was loving, but God was also kind of scary to us. We were taught a healthy fear of God, and that was supposed to be a good thing. God was kind of like the Wizard of Oz. Remember that movie? Behind the curtain there. And we were kind of like the lion, to be honest.
Lion! Well?
That's kind of how I look back at some of my childhood, especially about how I felt about my dad. He was a very loving guy. He wasn't going to turn us all into salt or anything. But to be honest with you, I was kind of scared of him sometimes. First of all, he wasn't around a lot. So when he was, I just didn't know him that well. And second, there were times when he blew, you know? Any of your dads ever blow? I mean, it happened to us occasionally. It wasn't like it happened a lot, but when he blew, woo! Maybe you get mad at my older brother Joe for driving too fast, or maybe get mad at Mom sometimes. They had some pretty big arguments, a lot of them in the car. And he was a little edgy sometimes. No one wanted Dad to blow. So we kind of tiptoed around Dad when he was around. Now listen, he could be one of the most wonderful dads in the world. I like nothing else but to sit on his lap and have him give me a pony ride, but I was, underneath it all, kind of careful around him. We were all kind of appeasing my dad. Do you know the feeling of that? Maybe you ever have a boss that you're always appeasing, you know? Or a family member? Mom, though, on the other hand, and I had a great mom, And listen, not all moms and dads are the same as mine. I'm just giving you my personal experience here. Mom, on the other hand, was a lap I felt totally comfortable in. In times of fear, one time, for instance, I remember turning on the TV one night, nobody was around, and it was like 6. And I turned on the TV, and there was the Alfred Hitchcock movie, The Birds, was on TV. Oh my gosh. And I had just gotten these glasses, remember that kid that's running away from the blackbirds in that movie? Well, I had just gotten glasses just like that, and I was scared out of my pants. I was froze. I couldn't run away from the TV. I was just kind of froze. And I remember finally running to my mom's lap. She was my place of comfort. A vivid memory I had, maybe one of my earliest, was sitting on my mom's lap in the car. Now, don't judge us. We didn't have seat belts back then. You could do that. I was maybe 3, and I was pretending to be asleep because I wanted Mom's lap. And if I woke up, I knew that Mom would pass me back to one of my older sisters and hope my younger sister would get to sit on Mom's lap. She always got to sit on Mom's lap because she was so darn cute. And so I pretended. I remember even sitting there trying to pretend to be cute just so I could stay on that lap. But not only for that reason. I pretended to be asleep because I wanted to see what Mom was going to do when we got home on that trip. If I was still, quote, asleep, would she carry me upstairs, lay me into bed and tuck me in and give me a peck on the cheek? Or, and this is what I was suspected she would do, she would wake me up, make me walk up by myself, go brush my teeth, and then I'd get picked on by my brothers. Well, I remember this. We got home, and Mom had everybody else get out of the car first, told everybody to be quiet. My sisters carried my younger sister Hope up to bed, but Mom gently and quietly lifted me up, carried me up the stairs. She tucked me into bed, and she not only did that, she looked at me and she said, "Oh, Brooke, you are so cute." I mean, this was like I had died and gone to heaven, man. It made me feel kind of like dancing, and it made me feel kind of like a Mariner fan does when Cal Raleigh hits a home run, or maybe like a Jordan Morris if you're a Sounders fan when he scores a goal for the Sounders, or maybe if you're a Seattle Storm fan, Skylar Diggins-Smith when she does one of those amazing passes that she does. It just made me feel like that. So why am I bringing this up? The difference between my feelings towards my dad and my mom are quite different. And I'm bringing these out because I think some of us feel like God has always been like my dad. Someone to fear in the end. Someone we need to appease, to please. That's what the ancients did, right? When they did their grain offerings, what were they doing? They were trying to put up a beautiful smell to God so God wouldn't come down and strike them. I mean, that's really what was going on. A God of power and might who was kind of like a volcano back in those ancient days in their understanding of God. Kind of like Mount St. Helens that always has the potential of boiling over and causing havoc in the world. And we still hear that language in our world today, right? I mean, we hear it. Depending on who you are, you hear it even more, right? So take a look at our history as Jewish people and as Christians, and our ancestors thought this way about God. God was someone to fear, to appease, to offer sacrifices to. So God would remain up there and pleased. Later, it became, for us as Christians, as offering up good works instead of sacrifices in order to please God. Have you ever bargained with God? Hey, God, I'm going to do these 15 things for you. If you just do this one for me, if you do those kind of things, right? That's trying to appease God with our good works. We even use that language when we talk about Jesus sometimes. You've heard these terms. Jesus died on the cross as a final offering to this God, as a final appeasement. Jesus finally pleases the wrathful God, so the God is no longer angry anymore. But what if some of our ancestors, anyway, didn't get it right? Right? The Bible grows. It changes. The understanding of God through the Bible is not the same. It changes and transforms and morphs. And I'm going to say, in Jesus, we see a God who has the mother God instincts, who has much more the mothering instincts of life. And we hear that God. There's a term we often use in studying the Bible called mining the Bible. And it's a cool understanding of God, or of the Bible, where, not every vein of the Bible is so hot, doesn't always feed you, right? There are certain veins in the Bible that really speak to us. And Jesus did exactly that. He mined the Bible, and he looked at all the Bible, and he found that there was a certain vein of God's understanding that just transformed his life. And he fell in love with that strain. And you can find it if you want to look at Isaiah 40 through 55. We call that second Isaiah. That is one of those veins where we hear about a God who's quite different than that wrathful God that we hear sometimes in the book of Exodus, for instance. In fact, you hear of a God who's very similar to a mother eagle. We read, Cindy read about it. Let's read again these passages. Let's read them together. Listen to me, O house of Jacob, all the remnant of the house of Israel, who have been born by me from your birth, carried from the womb, even to your old age I am she. Even when you turn gray, I will carry you. I have made you. I will bear you. I will carry you and save. That is an image of a mother God, right? A mother eagle. And then Deuteronomy has the same image. As a mother eagle stirs up her nest and hovers over her young, as she spreads her wings, take them up and bears them aloft on her pinions, the Lord alone guides them. There it is. And that is the image, according to Marcus Borg and Walter Brueggemann, when they study Jesus' thoughts about God, they think he's mined some of this from the Old Testament, some of these veins of the Old Testament where there's a mother God. And he got very excited about this. As you think about a mother eagle, I want you to think again back to our understanding of God. I don't know if any of you have watched the documentary. It's not called The Amazon. What is it called, Cindy? The Americas. Anybody watch this? It's on NBC. If you get a chance, kids would love it too. Just the photography is amazing. But in there's this beautiful story, and we're not going to be able to play it here because they won't let me put it on this here, but it's a beautiful story about a harpy eagle, one of the biggest eagles in the world. And this harpy eagle is a mother, and she's trying to keep this baby alive. She's got this baby, and a big storm in the Amazon comes across, and it just starts coming across. And the biggest killer of all baby eagles in the Amazon is storms. They're going to wipe them out. That's what happens. They get too cold or they get blown out of the nest. And you watch, and they're videoing this thing from the remotest part of the Amazon, and that mother is covering that baby through this storm. And it's not just a one-day storm or a two-day storm. It is a 7-day storm. And she's holding on. She's not being fed. She doesn't have any food. The baby doesn't have any food. And you just watch. And then finally, they show again, the storm's over. And everybody on that crew is watching to see if that baby is alive. And sure enough, the mother eagle moves, and that little baby pops up at its head. But it can barely lift its head. And so, this is the other cool part, guys. We have a part in this too, because the father eagle is supposed to be going out and finding food. And so you watch as this father eagle comes in and brings a little mouse for that little eagle to eat. And I think it's just so cool because I think both the father and the mother eagle are displaying what I'd call a mothering God tendency. They're taking care, right? And we can't do it alone. We need to do it together, right? This Mother's Day is not just about mothers. It's about the mothering God in all of us, male and female, and how can we use it to take care of our world. Today, we have a baptism of a mother, and she doesn't have the easiest life. She's got some health issues. Bree does. She's got 2 beautiful kids, that's for sure. But it can't be easy to take care of 2 little ones with the health conditions that she has been going through. And Adrian's been right there. I mean, those are 2 Mother God spirits right there together, no doubt about it. I was talking to Bree about why she wanted to get baptized. And what was it? What's the reason? And to be honest with you, I thought you were going to tell me you're going to bargain with God. I thought she was going to tell me, well, I'm going to get baptized and then God's going to heal me. But that is not what she said. She said from the time she was a little girl, in almost always, even in the toughest times, and she didn't always have an easy time growing up, in the toughest times, she never felt alone. She always felt like God was there, carrying her, bearing her, helping her, surrounding her with love. And so she wanted to honor that God, not to appease it, but instead to lift it up as a great thing in this baptism. So I want you to think about that in your life. One of the things that's helped me in my prayer life is I have gotten rid of the term Father God in my prayer life. I tend to use Mother in my prayer life because my mom, I'm going to run to Mom's lap no matter what. Dad, a little uncomfortable, and that's kind of how I felt about God for a long time. But when I started using Mother language for God, my relationship with God changed. And I want to encourage you to do that. And maybe in your life, you can come to find that God who is there in the worst times of your life, bearing you up, carrying you, holding you, encouraging. And all the people said, amen.